Why were you born in this life? Buddhist answers to life's mysteries. Have you ever found yourself lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, lost in thought, wondering, why am I here? What is the purpose of my life? It's a question that transcends age, a thought that visits us at different points in our lives. Whether we're in the peak of success, feeling invincible, or in the depths of struggle, wondering why we were born into this life is something we all face. And here's the truth, you're not alone in this reflection. Across cultures, across centuries, people have asked themselves this very question. It's a question that echoes through the hearts of the young and the old, the rich and the poor, the powerful and the powerless. But how many of us have actually found the answer, or have we simply let time pass without really confronting it? In this video, we're going to delve into a teaching that might just change the way you think about your life. The Buddha, with his unparalleled wisdom, offers an answer, not in the form of abstract philosophy, but as a living, breathing guide that can transform how you approach your day-to-day existence. Imagine if you could understand why you are in this life, how your experiences, your joys, your challenges, and yes, even your regrets are not random at all. They are not the result of luck or fate, but of causes and conditions. The Buddha's teachings provide clarity on how everything that happens in your life is interwoven, like a vast, intricate tapestry that you have the power to weave yourself. This video is packed with insights that can radically shift your perspective. If you've ever wondered what the true meaning of life is, if you've ever been gripped by that burning question of why me, then this is the content you've been waiting for. We will explore how life is not a mere accident, but a culmination of choices, actions, and conditions that we've accumulated over time. This isn't just some abstract theory. These are practical teachings grounded in reality that you can apply today, right now. No matter your age, you still have the power to shape your future, to make sense of your past, and to live with purpose and intention. So stay with us until the very end. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. By the time this video ends, you'll walk away with a new understanding of your life, a sense of comfort, clarity, and most importantly, a real sense of agency. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, because this is just the beginning of a journey that could transform your life forever. Watch all the way through to discover the Buddha's profound answer to why you were born in this life. You'll never look at your existence the same way again. Chapter 1: Life is not random, the Buddha's answer to our existence. Have you ever had one of those moments when you wake up and feel completely disoriented, like you're standing at the edge of an unfamiliar world, unsure of where you belong? You look around at your bed, your hands, your clothes, and you wonder, why am I here? Why was I born into this family with all its complexities and contradictions? Why do I have this life with its mix of joy and hardship? For many of us, these questions are fleeting thoughts that pass through our minds. But as we grow older, as we accumulate experiences and memories, these questions often resurface. They become more pressing, more difficult to ignore. Our past decisions, the paths we've chosen, the people we've loved, and even those we've lost, all start to feel like part of a larger puzzle. And we begin to wonder, was all of this just chance, or is there something more to it? It's a question that doesn't discriminate. Young or old, rich or poor, powerful or powerless, at some point, we all wonder about the deeper meaning of our existence. Are we here by accident? Or is there a higher purpose, a divine plan that has placed us exactly where we are? For many, life can seem random. We wake up every day and go through the motions. We experience moments of happiness, followed by bouts of sadness or frustration. But if we look closely, if we listen with our hearts and minds open, we might begin to see the underlying structure of our lives. This isn't mere speculation, this is the profound wisdom that the Buddha shared with us centuries ago. Life is not random. The Buddha's answer to our existence is clear. life is shaped by causes and conditions. You are here because of the actions, thoughts, and decisions that have come before. This is not about fate, nor is it a matter of blind luck. The circumstances of your life, your family, your body, your relationships are not accidents. They are the natural results of the choices you've made and the conditions that have shaped your life up to this point. This understanding is not something distant or abstract. It is a living, breathing truth that affects every moment of our lives. Think about it. If you have spent your life cultivating kindness, practicing patience, and helping others, even when times were hard, those acts have created a life rich in love, warmth, and support. On the other hand, if your actions have been rooted in anger, selfishness, or fear, your present life may reflect those choices too. What we do today shapes who we are tomorrow. Let me share a story that illustrates this concept perfectly. There was a man I met many years ago. He had grown up in a broken home, surrounded by poverty and neglect. But instead of being swallowed by bitterness, he chose to make a different life for himself. He worked hard not just to earn money, but to improve himself as a person, helping others, learning, and building meaningful connections. The kindness he gave to others, even in his own moments of struggle, returned to him in abundance. The Buddha teaches us that life works much like a garden. Imagine planting seeds of compassion, wisdom, and generosity in the fertile soil of your actions. Over time, those seeds will grow into a rich harvest of peace, love, and understanding. But if you sow seeds of anger, hatred, or fear, don't be surprised when they grow into weeds of confusion, suffering, and regret. Life is a continuous cycle of cause and effect. Every choice, no matter how small, sets the stage for what comes next. I know it might feel overwhelming. You might ask, what if my past actions have been harmful? What if I've made mistakes that have caused pain to myself or others? The Buddha's teachings offer reassurance here too. The past does not trap you. Yes, our past shapes us, but it does not define our future. The present moment is always open for change. No matter how many years have passed, you are not bound by the choices you've made in the past. Each new moment offers you the opportunity to act differently, to change your course, and to shape a future that is aligned with your highest values. Let me tell you about another individual who exemplified this principle. A woman in her late 60s once approached me after a talk on mindfulness and meditation. She shared how, in her earlier years, she had made a series of decisions that led her down a difficult path: addictions, strained relationships, and a feeling of disconnection. But after hearing about the power of mindfulness and intentional living, she decided to make a change. She began, slowly but surely, to practice self-compassion, to forgive herself, and to reconnect with her loved ones. It was a long road, but she started to see the effects of her efforts. Peace returned to her life, and with it, a deep sense of gratitude for the present moment. The Buddha's teachings offer a powerful antidote to the feeling of being stuck or helpless. Life is not a punishment or reward. It is an opportunity, an incredible chance to grow, to learn, to evolve. The challenges we face are not punishments for some past wrongdoing. They are the natural results of the momentum we've built from our past choices. But here's the beauty: we can change that momentum. Think about it. Have you ever felt like life was punishing you for something you did, or that your current situation was a result of some cosmic scale of justice? The Buddha teaches that challenges are not punishments, they are opportunities for growth. When life knocks you down, instead of seeing it as a punishment, see it as a chance to learn, to find your inner strength, and to act with wisdom and compassion. The obstacles in your life, no matter how difficult they may seem, are not there to destroy you. They are there to help you build resilience, wisdom, and understanding. Our lives are not an accident. The universe is not random, nor is life just about fate or destiny. We are here because of what we have done, and what we do next will shape who we become. Every action, every thought, every decision, no matter how insignificant it seems, has the power to create the future. And here's the most powerful part. No matter how old you are, it is never too late to change. Your life is in your hands, and the choices you make now will define your tomorrow. So if you feel lost, if you feel that your life is spiraling or that you are stuck in a cycle of suffering, know this: you have the power to change it. You are not trapped by your past. You are free to shape your future with every action, every thought, and every choice. The Buddha's answer to the question, "Why are you here?" is not just about understanding the past, it is about creating a future. Life is not random. It is a process of continuous creation, shaped by the actions, thoughts, and conditions we cultivate today. The present moment is your opportunity to choose a new path, to sow seeds of kindness and wisdom, and to create a future filled with peace and purpose. And remember, it is never too late to begin. Chapter 2: The Power to Change, Even at Any Age. As we age, there's often this creeping feeling that change is out of reach. The years accumulate behind us like a heavy backpack, each filled with choices, mistakes, regrets, and experiences that seem to define who we are. You might look in the mirror one morning and wonder, is this who I am now? Is this all I can ever be? The patterns of our past can feel like invisible chains that bind us, leaving us to wonder if we are stuck forever, unable to break free. The older we get, the harder it seems to alter the course of our lives. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that it's too late to change, that the habits we've spent decades nurturing, the mindsets we've carried for so long, are now set in stone. But the Buddha's teachings present a radically different perspective, a truth that is as powerful as it is liberating. It is never too late to change. The Buddha teaches that change is not only possible, but it is always within our power. The past, with all its scars and setbacks, does not have to define the present or the future. No matter how many years have passed, no matter how deeply ingrained our habits are, the potential for transformation exists in every moment. I think of a man I met years ago. His name was Michael. When I first encountered him, he was living in the shadow of his past, a man marked by anger, resentment, and years of addiction. For much of his younger life, he struggled with substance abuse, and each day was a battle against his own demons. He carried the weight of those choices like an anchor around his neck, believing that he was destined to repeat the same cycle of self-destruction. But one day, something changed. Michael had an epiphany. He realized that if he continued to walk the same path, he would never escape the prison he had built for himself. He chose, in that moment, to change. He chose to replace anger with mindfulness, addiction with healthier habits, and despair with hope. But that change didn't happen overnight. It took years, slow, steady, and sometimes painful progress. He started by making small changes. Practicing mindfulness in the morning, replacing unhealthy behaviors with activities that nourished his body and mind, and reaching out for help when he felt the old temptations rising. It wasn't easy. There were many setbacks, moments when the old patterns would resurface, threatening to pull him back into the darkness. But through consistent effort, Michael began to reshape his life. He didn't let his past mistakes control him. He didn't let his addiction or his anger define who he was or who he could become. He took responsibility for his actions, but he didn't allow them to dictate his future. And little by little, he became someone new, a man who had found peace, purpose, and joy in a life he once thought impossible. Michael's story is a living testament to the Buddha's teaching that our past does not bind us. Yes, our actions and decisions shape the present, but they do not have the power to lock us into a particular destiny. Karma, which is often misunderstood as some form of cosmic punishment or reward, is simply the natural law of cause and effect. The Buddha taught that while our past actions influence the conditions of our lives, they do not determine who we are in this moment or who we can become. You are not defined by what you have done in the past. This is the essence of the Buddha's teaching on impermanence. Everything is in constant flux. The mind is malleable. It can change, evolve, and grow, no matter how old you are. Our habits, our tendencies, and our thoughts are not fixed. They are the result of patterns we have created over time, but these patterns can be changed. One of the greatest sources of human suffering comes from the belief that we are trapped by our past, but the Buddha offers a radical truth. You are free to change. It is never too late to begin again. You may feel as though your past mistakes are like stones you can never lift, but that's not the case. The Buddha didn't teach us to erase our past or to ignore it. He taught us that we have the power to choose differently in the present moment, and that this present moment is the only place where real change can happen. If you feel overwhelmed by the idea of change, start small. Change doesn't need to be dramatic. It's the accumulation of small, consistent steps that leads to transformation. Mindfulness, paying attention to our thoughts and actions without judgment, is one of the most powerful tools the Buddha left us. By practicing mindfulness, we can begin to notice the habitual patterns in our thoughts and behaviors. We can become aware of the ways in which our minds have been shaped by past experiences, and we can choose to act differently in the future. Take the example of a man I once knew named Sam. Sam had been through a lot in his life. He had grown up in a turbulent household, had made many mistakes, and had carried guilt for years. As he grew older, he became more reflective, but he also began to feel trapped by the weight of his past. One day, he started practicing mindfulness. He would sit quietly each morning, observing his thoughts and simply acknowledging the feelings that arose. At first, it was uncomfortable. His mind would race with old regrets and worries, but over time, he began to notice patterns, moments when he would get caught in old habits of self-criticism or fear. With practice, he learned to let go of these thoughts and choose new ones. Slowly but surely, his perspective began to shift. He stopped seeing himself as the sum of his mistakes and started seeing himself as a work in progress, capable of growth, capable of transformation. Sam's story, much like Michael's, is proof that you are never stuck. You have the power to change your life at any age, no matter how long you've lived with certain habits or beliefs. The Buddha's teachings remind us that we are not our past, nor are we our circumstances. We are the result of the choices we make right now, in this very moment. You may be asking yourself, how can I change now? I've lived a certain way for so long. The answer is simple: start now. It's never too late. The power to change is always in your hands. The Buddha teaches that we can begin anew at any moment by simply making a conscious decision to live with awareness, kindness, and wisdom. The process of change may not be easy, but it is always possible. You don't have to be defined by the life you've lived up until now. You are free to shape the future, moment by moment, choice by choice. So remember this. You are never too old to change. The mind is like clay, malleable, flexible, and open to transformation. The present is where your power lies. Make today the day you begin to reshape your life. Chapter 3: The Rare Gift of Being Alive, Recognizing the Preciousness of Life. The Buddha's teachings on the rarity of human life are not just philosophical musings. They are a call to awaken, to recognize that being alive is a rare and extraordinary gift. Imagine a vast ocean stretching endlessly in every direction. Somewhere in that ocean there swims a blind turtle. Every 100 years, the turtle rises to the surface of the water, and at that moment there is a small wooden ring floating just above the surface. The chances of the turtle, in all its blindness, poking its head through that ring are nearly impossible. The Buddha used this image to remind us of the preciousness of our human existence. Just like the turtle, the chance of being born as a human being is exceedingly rare. Think about that for a moment. Among all the billions of creatures in the world, you are one of the rare few who have been born with the capacity for self-awareness, for learning, for growth. This body you inhabit, this mind that allows you to reflect on your actions, to question your purpose, to change, it is a gift, and it is not something to take lightly. For those of us who are older, the recognition of this gift may feel distant at times. We become bogged down by the weight of regret, by the accumulation of missed opportunities, and by the relentless passage of time. With each year that passes, it can feel like the window for change or for accomplishing something meaningful grows smaller. We look back and wonder, have I wasted it all? Is it too late? But the Buddha's teachings urge us to shift that perspective. Life is not something that ends, it is a continuous unfolding, a continuous opportunity for transformation. You are still here, and that in itself is extraordinary. The very fact that you are alive today, reading these words, breathing in the present moment, is something that should fill you with awe and gratitude. Being alive is not ordinary, it is extraordinary. As we grow older, we often start measuring our worth by what we have achieved in the past, by the experiences we've gathered, or by the things we feel we've lost. But the Buddha asks us not to fixate on the past. Our lives are not defined by what we have done or failed to do, but by the choices we make now, in this very moment. Consider the example of a woman I once met named Grace. She was in her 70s, and when I spoke with her, she shared with me her deep regret over a career that had not gone as she had hoped, over relationships that had ended in bitterness, and over the time she felt she had wasted in pursuit of material wealth. She spoke with sadness in her eyes, feeling as though her life had been a series of missed chances. But as we spoke further, she shared something remarkable. Grace had begun to practice mindfulness, and with it, a deep shift started to occur within her. Instead of lamenting the past, she started to focus on the small, everyday moments, like the feeling of sunlight on her face in the morning, the joy of spending time with her grandchildren, the peace she found in quiet meditation. Through mindfulness, she began to appreciate what she had in the present, no longer allowing the weight of regret to overshadow the beauty of the life she was still living. Grace came to see that the potential for transformation was not behind her, it was in front of her, alive in every moment. She realized that even at her age, her life was still precious and still held the potential for new wisdom, growth, and joy. The Buddha teaches us that our human birth is a rare and fleeting opportunity. It's not an accident that you are here now, reading these words. You have been born into this life at this moment in time with the unique ability to reflect, to learn, and to grow. And that is something to cherish deeply. When we approach life with this awareness, we begin to realize how much of it we have taken for granted. How often do we spend our days distracted, lost in the mundane, forgetting to appreciate the simple fact that we are here at all? The Buddha invites us to recognize the miracle of existence in each breath we take. Being alive is a gift that is constantly unfolding, and it is up to us how we choose to engage with it. In the rush of daily life, we can forget that life itself is the greatest teacher. It offers us an abundance of lessons every single day, if we are present enough to notice them. Whether it is the kindness of a stranger, the beauty of nature, or the quiet moments of reflection, life is always offering us something to learn. Take, for example, the story of a man named Thomas, who, in his late 50s, found himself facing a personal crisis. After losing his job and facing the collapse of his marriage, he felt as though his life had fallen apart. He was deeply depressed, unsure of how to move forward. But one day, while walking in the park, he stopped and watched a family of birds building a nest. He noticed how diligently the birds worked, how they persevered in their efforts despite the challenges they faced. In that moment, Thomas had a profound realization: life is always rebuilding itself. Even when things fall apart, there is always a chance to start again, to rebuild with purpose and intention. That realization sparked a shift in his life. From that day forward, he decided to approach life with the mindset of a builder, not a victim. He began to see every challenge as an opportunity for growth, and slowly his outlook on life transformed. He took up new hobbies, deepened his relationships, and found a renewed sense of purpose. Thomas learned to appreciate the preciousness of life, especially as he grew older, because he understood that the opportunity to transform is always available, no matter how old you are. The Buddha teaches us that life, in all its complexity, is a precious gift. No matter your age or your circumstances, you are here now, and this moment is filled with endless potential. There is no need to look back with regret or to believe that time has passed you by. You are still alive. You still have the opportunity to transform, to grow, and to find meaning. The gift of life is always before you. It's never too late to awaken to it, to step into it fully, and to recognize its value. The Buddha's message is clear. Life is not something to be wasted or taken for granted. It is a rare, precious opportunity that we must cherish, live fully, and approach with mindfulness and gratitude. The gift of being alive is available to you right now, in this moment. Embrace it. Chapter 4: The Power of Now, Embracing the Present Moment. We often hear that the present moment is where all of life resides. It's a phrase repeated in spiritual circles, written in countless books, and echoed by wise teachers. But how many of us truly understand the gravity of those words? How many of us genuinely experience the power of now? In his teachings, the Buddha repeatedly emphasized that the present moment is the only real moment. The past is already gone, and the future is yet to come. But what is this present moment? What does it truly mean to live in the now? The answer lies not just in the abstract concept of time, but in the simple and profound truth that the only time we have is right here, right now. In our daily lives, the present moment often slips through our fingers like sand. We are bombarded by distractions. Our minds constantly wander to the past or the future. We replay past regrets in our minds, or we worry about future uncertainties. And in doing so, we forget the richness of the life unfolding before us. We forget to live. Take the example of Rachel, a woman who spent most of her life consumed by worries about what others thought of her. She was always in a state of anticipation, looking backward at her past mistakes or projecting forward into the future, wondering what might go wrong. This constant mental chatter kept her from fully engaging with the present moment. She was so consumed by past regrets and future fears that she barely noticed the beauty of the life happening right in front of her. Then one day, Rachel attended a meditation retreat. It was there, in the stillness of her own mind, that she had a realization. All of her mental energy was spent on things she couldn't change, past mistakes and future uncertainties. In that moment, she understood the Buddha's teaching on mindfulness. The only place where transformation can happen is in the present moment. The future will come, but it's never guaranteed. The past is already gone. But right now, in this very moment, is the only time she truly had. Rachel made a conscious decision that day to stop living in the past or the future. She chose to embrace the present, to let go of her burdens of worry, and to simply be. Through mindfulness, she began to experience life with greater clarity and joy. Instead of constantly chasing after some future version of herself, she started to enjoy each moment as it came. She learned to savor the small things. The sound of birds chirping outside her window, the warmth of the sun on her face, the joy of a good conversation. Rachel discovered that life happens right here in the now. This story is a beautiful illustration of how powerful it can be when we stop trying to control everything around us. By accepting the present moment as it is, without judgment or resistance, we open ourselves to the fullness of life. And when we do this, we create the space to cultivate wisdom, compassion, and peace. The Buddha's teachings on mindfulness invite us to truly experience each moment. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present, of paying attention to the here and now. It's not about changing anything or achieving something. It's about fully inhabiting the moment we are in. Every breath we take, every step we make is an opportunity to be alive. In those moments, we cultivate awareness, and in that awareness, we begin to change. Let's think about this for a moment. In a world full of distractions, with so much noise around us, it's easy to overlook the present. We scroll through social media feeds, attend to endless emails, and chase after things we think will bring us happiness. But the Buddha reminds us that the present is not just a fleeting moment to be ignored or bypassed. The present is the gateway to everything that follows. When we fully embrace the present with awareness, we transform ourselves. Our minds are reshaped by the choices we make right now. This transformation might not happen overnight, but it is steady and powerful. The more we practice mindfulness and embrace the present, the more we begin to live with intention, compassion, and clarity. I recall a conversation with a man named James. He was in his early 50s and he felt that life had passed him by. He had been so caught up in his work, his responsibilities, and his regrets that he realized one day he had missed out on the simple joys of life. He told me, "I've spent years focusing on the future, always striving for more, never stopping to just be." I shared with him the Buddha's teaching that true peace and fulfillment come not from chasing the future, but from embracing the present. At first, James was skeptical. He felt like he had wasted too much time to suddenly start living differently, but I asked him to take small steps. I invited him to practice just a few minutes of mindfulness each day. He began by sitting quietly in the morning, taking deep breaths and simply noticing his thoughts without judgment. Over time, he learned to let go of his constant striving and started to appreciate each moment for what it was. Slowly, James began to notice a profound shift in his life. Instead of constantly feeling like he was falling behind or missing out, he started to feel more alive, more connected to the world around him. His relationships deepened, his stress levels decreased, and his outlook on life became more peaceful. What was once a frantic chase for more was replaced with a peaceful acceptance of the present moment. And through that acceptance, he began to transform. James' story is a powerful reminder that the power of now is the power to change. When we stop seeking happiness in the future or regret in the past, we open the door to true transformation. We no longer need to search for something outside ourselves. Everything we need is already here, in the present moment. The Buddha's teachings offer a profound invitation to stop resisting the now, to stop running away from what is, and to begin living with full awareness and acceptance of the present. By embracing the now, we experience life fully, and in that fullness, we find the wisdom and peace that we've been seeking all along. So the next time you feel the weight of regret or the pull of anxiety about the future, pause, take a deep breath and ask yourself, am I fully here right now? And if not, take a step toward presence. The present is where your life is happening, and when you live in the present, you open yourself to all the beauty, wisdom, and peace that life has to offer. Chapter 5, The Law of Karma, Understanding Cause and Effect. The Buddha's teachings on karma offer a profound understanding of how our actions shape the world around us. Karma is often misunderstood as a system of rewards and punishments, but it is, in its essence, the law of cause and effect. Every action, every thought, and every word we express creates a ripple effect that moves through the fabric of our lives and the lives of others. Karma isn't a system of judgment imposed from above. It is simply the natural law of consequences. It's the way life works, a subtle force that guides our experiences, shaping our future based on the choices we make today. when you truly grasp the idea that karma is not about external rewards or punishments, but rather the natural consequences of your own actions, it becomes a powerful tool for personal transformation. Karma doesn't judge us, it simply responds to our actions. What we sow, we reap. What we give out into the world, we receive in return. This principle underlies the Buddha's teachings and offers a pathway to deeper understanding, clarity, and peace. But here's where many people get stuck. Life isn't always straightforward, and when difficulties arise, many of us wonder, why is this happening to me? What did I do to deserve this? In those moments, it's easy to slip into the trap of seeing karma as a kind of cosmic scorecard, where bad things happen because we did something bad, and good things happen as a reward for our good actions. But this is a misunderstanding of karma. Karma is not about punishment or reward, it's about consequence. It's the natural unfolding of the seeds we plant. For example, consider Liam's story, a man whose life was marked by anger and bitterness. Liam had faced countless challenges in his life, from childhood struggles to personal losses, and instead of working through them, he internalized them as deep resentment toward the world. Every setback only fueled his anger, and over time, this bitterness spread into his relationships. He became increasingly isolated, pushing people away, and his frustration manifested in small but sharp bursts of anger that were destructive to himself and those around him. One day, Liam met a Buddhist monk who spoke to him about the concept of karma. At first, Liam was skeptical. He didn't see how his personal hardships had anything to do with karma. But the monk patiently explained that karma is about the consequences of our actions, not as punishment, but as a natural result of how we engage with the world. Liam's anger, his bitterness, and his resentment were creating more suffering, not just for the people around him, but for himself as well. He was constantly feeding negative energy into the world, and that energy was returning to him in the form of isolation and dissatisfaction. Liam's turning point came when he began to understand this concept. He made a conscious decision to change. He chose to replace his anger with patience, his bitterness with forgiveness, and his resentment with acceptance. The process was slow and it wasn't easy, but every time he felt the urge to react with anger or frustration, he paused, he breathed, he made a choice to respond differently, to choose peace instead of conflict. And over time, the consequences of his new actions began to show. His relationships began to heal. People started to respond to him with kindness, and Liam, in turn, felt a deep sense of peace and contentment he had never known before. What Liam learned was the powerful truth of karma. What you put into the world, you get back. By changing the way he responded to life, he changed the way life responded to him. Every action, no matter how small, ripples outward. Liam's positive actions created a more peaceful and fulfilling life. This story isn't just about Liam, it's about all of us. It illustrates a fundamental principle of karma. You are not stuck with your past. Karma is constantly being created through the choices we make today. Our karma is not fixed. If we don't like the direction our lives are headed, we have the ability to make a different choice. Each moment is an opportunity to change the course of our lives. Every time we choose kindness over anger, patience over impatience, or forgiveness over resentment, we are planting seeds of positive karma. And over time, those seeds grow and bear fruit. The Buddha teaches us that we have the power to shape our destiny. Karma isn't a preordained fate. It isn't a sentence handed down by some higher power. You shape your life by the choices you make, by how you think, speak, and act. If we want to create a life of happiness, peace, and love, we must first begin by planting those seeds in our thoughts, words, and actions. The present moment is where karma is created, not in the past, not in the future, but right now. How we respond to life in this moment shapes the reality of the next moment and the one after that. The Buddha's teachings show us that karma is not a burden. It is not something to fear. It is a natural law that provides us with the freedom to shape our lives. Every day, we have the opportunity to create positive karma by making wise and compassionate choices. And even when we slip or make mistakes, we can always choose to correct our course, to learn from our actions, and to move forward with greater wisdom. The most powerful aspect of karma is that it gives us the power to transform our lives. It is not the events that happen to us that determine the course of our lives, it is how we respond to them. And that response, over time, creates the world we live in. Every action, no matter how small, ripples outward. So if we want a peaceful world, a world filled with kindness and understanding, it starts with us. It starts with how we choose to live, how we choose to interact with the world around us, and how we choose to cultivate positive karma with every thought, word, and action. The law of karma is simple yet profound. You are the creator of your own life. By being mindful of your actions, by choosing to act with compassion and wisdom, you are actively shaping the world you live in. If you want happiness, peace, and love in your life, start by planting those seeds in the present moment. Each small choice creates a ripple of positive change within you, in your relationships, and in the world around you. And in the end, those ripples create a life filled with meaning, purpose, and fulfillment. Karma is not something to fear, it is a path to liberation. Through understanding the law of karma and making conscious choices, we step onto a path of self-discovery, growth, and transformation. Your karma is in your hands, and with every moment, you have the power to shape it. Chapter 6: The Path to Enlightenment, a Journey of Self-Discovery. The Buddha's ultimate gift to humanity is his teachings on enlightenment, a state of complete awakening, freedom from suffering, and profound peace. But enlightenment isn't an immediate transformation. It is not something that happens overnight, nor is it an escape from the world. Instead, it's a lifelong journey, a process of self-discovery, inner growth, and transformation that unfolds one step at a time. Many people, when they hear the word enlightenment, imagine some distant, unreachable state, something reserved for monks or great spiritual masters. But this is a misunderstanding. Enlightenment is not about running away from the world or withdrawing from our responsibilities. It is not a withdrawal into silence or seclusion. Rather, it is the awakening to the truth of who we are and the world around us. It's about learning to see things clearly, without the distortion of ego, attachment, and ignorance. It is about living a life full of wisdom, compassion, and mindfulness in every single moment. The Buddha's path to enlightenment is laid out in the Noble Eightfold Path, a guide for how to live a life grounded in moral integrity, mental clarity, and spiritual understanding. It is a path that asks us to cultivate awareness in our thoughts, speech, and actions, and to walk a road of inner transformation with each passing day. Consider the story of Samuel, a man who embodies the transformative power of the Buddha's teachings. Samuel had lived much of his life chasing after the things the world told him would bring happiness, material wealth, status, and pleasure. He worked long hours, accumulated possessions, and sought the approval of others. But as he grew older, he began to feel an unshakable emptiness inside. No matter how much he had, it wasn't enough. The deeper sense of satisfaction and peace he longed for seemed always just out of reach. One evening, while reflecting on his life, Samuel realized that despite all his achievements, he felt unfulfilled. It was as if a deep, unaddressed void lingered at the center of his being. And in that moment of awareness, he made a decision. He could no longer chase after external things to fill this emptiness. Instead, he needed to look inward, to embark on a journey of self-discovery and spiritual awakening. This was not an easy decision for Samuel. He had spent decades immersed in a world of constant striving and external validation. But he began to seek deeper meaning through meditation, mindfulness, and contemplation. Over time, Samuel learned to quiet the ceaseless noise of his mind, the worries, the desires, the insecurities that had ruled him for so long. Through meditation, he cultivated an awareness of his thoughts and emotions, and gradually, he began to let go of the attachments that had bound him for years. Samuel's journey is a reflection of the Buddha's path of enlightenment. In learning to quiet his mind, Samuel let go of his attachment to worldly success and began to cultivate inner peace. He practiced generosity, kindness, and patience. As he grew in mindfulness, his relationships began to transform. He became more present with his loved ones, more patient with himself, and more compassionate toward others. What Samuel discovered through his commitment to the teachings of the Buddha is that true fulfillment does not come from external accomplishments or the accumulation of material wealth. It comes from within. It comes from living with awareness, from practicing compassion, and from letting go of the things that keep us from experiencing peace. Through this internal transformation, Samuel found the lasting peace and happiness he had sought for so long. The Buddha's teachings tell us that enlightenment is not an unattainable goal. It is within each of us, waiting to be realized. It is not something that only a few chosen people can achieve. It is a journey available to all of us, no matter our age, our circumstances, or our past. The path to enlightenment is not a destination. It is a process of continuous growth. It is a commitment to letting go of our attachments to the things that keep us from experiencing life fully. It is about cultivating a peaceful mind and acting with compassion in every moment. This path requires dedication, but it is also a path of joy and liberation. The Buddha's path is not about denying life, it is about awakening to it in its fullest form. The more we engage with the present moment with awareness, the more we cultivate wisdom, compassion, and peace. These qualities arise naturally when we free ourselves from the chains of attachment, judgment, and ego. Think about the practice of letting go. It's not about rejecting the world or renouncing our responsibilities. Rather, it's about learning to engage with life without clinging to it, without attaching our sense of self-worth to transient things. Letting go doesn't mean giving up, it means freeing ourselves from the idea that happiness can be found outside of ourselves. It is recognizing that true peace comes from the ability to be present, to appreciate each moment, and to act with kindness and understanding. There's a beautiful story about the Buddha that illustrates this perfectly. One day, a young monk came to him and asked, "How can I find peace and liberation in this world?" The Buddha simply replied, "By learning to let go of everything that binds you." The young monk was confused, so the Buddha explained, "Let go of your attachment to your thoughts, to your desires, to your expectations. Let go of your attachment to the past and the future. When you let go, you make space for peace to enter your heart." This is the essence of the Noble Eightfold Path. It is a path of continual letting go. We let go of attachments to our desires, to our identities, to the need for control, and we embrace the flow of life as it is. By doing so, we uncover the true freedom and peace that lie within. Samuel's journey is just one of many that illustrate the transformative power of this path, and it's a path that each of us can follow. The Buddha's teachings are not about achieving some distant state of perfection. They are about awakening to the perfection that is already within us. The path to enlightenment is a journey that never truly ends. It is a process of continuous learning, growing, and becoming. So as we reflect on this journey, let us remember, enlightenment is not a far-off dream. It is the fruit of every small act of kindness, every moment of mindfulness, every choice to act with compassion. The path is laid before us step by step, and it begins right here in this moment. The journey to enlightenment is not about escape. It is about fully engaging with life, with all its imperfections, and discovering the boundless peace that exists within each of us. As we follow this path, we walk in the footsteps of the Buddha. each step leading us closer to the truth of who we really are. Chapter 7: The Journey Awaits. As we come to the end of this profound exploration of the Buddha's teachings, the truth is unmistakable. The key to living a truly fulfilling and meaningful life is rooted in awareness, compassion, and the recognition that every moment we have is a precious gift. Life is not a random series of events. It is a continuous process of cause and effect where our choices, not fate, not chance, shape the experiences we encounter. Through the simple yet transformative practice of mindfulness, we have the power to alter the trajectory of our lives and come to truly appreciate the extraordinary gift of being alive. This truth, when fully realized, can change everything. The law of karma shows us that every action, every word, every thought ripples outward, shaping not just our future, but the very fabric of the world around us. By planting seeds of kindness, patience, and wisdom, we create the life we desire, one filled with peace, purpose, and fulfillment. And ultimately, the path to enlightenment is a journey of deep self-discovery and transformation. It is about learning to see the world as it truly is, free from the distortion of attachment and ego. This journey doesn't require us to withdraw from the world, but rather to engage with it fully and mindfully, seeing it clearly for the first time and embracing each moment with grace and awareness. But here's the most important part: the Buddha's teachings were never meant to be something we simply study. They are meant to be lived. Each and every day presents us with endless opportunities to grow, to change, and to live with intention. When we choose to embrace the present moment, recognize the rarity of life, and cultivate positive actions, we unlock the potential for a life of peace, fulfillment, and enlightenment. Now more than ever, this path is available to all of us, regardless of our age, our past, or our current circumstances. The journey starts now. Are you ready to take the first step? To start living your life with the mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom that will transform your world, the answers have been laid before you. The teachings are simple, yet they hold the key to the life you've always desired. The path to enlightenment, to peace, and to true freedom is waiting for you. So, what will you do next? If you've found these teachings valuable, don't keep them to yourself. Share them with those around you. Like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more insights on how to live a life of purpose and peace. This video holds within it a treasure trove of wisdom. Make sure you've watched every second to grasp its full power. Your journey to enlightenment starts here, and it starts now. The time to awaken is now. Thank you for watching the video.